Hey guys, welcome back to Journey with Rebecca. My name is Rebecca, and today I'm in the kitchen making some finishing, like seasoning salts. I'm taking advantage of the rainy day by getting some things done inside, and this is an idea I had that I thought would be really great as a gift idea. So if you've watched any of my videos lately, you've kind of noticed a theme that like I really want to put some effort into doing some like homemade gifts this year, and putting some thought into things, and instead of just going out and buying things from the store. So I thought this would be really great to have in my kitchen for myself, but it also would be really great as a gift idea. So I'm making 3 different finishing salts today. Making a lemon salt, a chive blossom salt, and then a rosemary salt. So I'm just getting started here by zesting a lemon right into my little food processor here. I did make sure that I washed these lemons up really good, and if you can use organic lemons, that would be even better. So I'm just going to finish zesting this, and then I'm going to use the peel of another lemon, a cup of sea salt, and then a sprig of rosemary, which I don't have an actual sprig of rosemary. I just have some dried rosemary, so I'm just going to use that instead. So you have the zest of 1 lemon, and then the peel, well, maybe I shouldn't have cut that. I don't know. The peel of a lemon, and I'm going to leave all this pithy part here. I don't want any of the juice because ultimately I am drying this out in the oven. So I just want the very outer layer of the peel. And I do have my oven on the very lowest setting, which I think my oven is like, it's 170. It's 170 degrees. And the first 2 salts that I'm making are going to go into the oven on the lowest setting for about 20 minutes just to sort of dry everything out, because you don't want any moisture in any of the finishing salts that you're doing. Maybe I shouldn't have cut the lemon because now I'm just getting lemon juice everywhere, and I don't ultimately want lemon juice in my salt. Okay. So, zest of a lemon, lemon peel. I'm just going to rinse my hands quick. A sprig of rosemary, which I don't actually know how much a sprig of rosemary is, maybe like a tablespoon or 2, so I'm just going to dump some in, and then the salt. Whoops, I dropped some. Once you have all the ingredients together, you just want to pulse them in the food processor until they're all chopped up and well combined. And unlike regular salt, a finishing salt is considered more gourmet. It's meant to be used, as the name implies, to finish a dish, to give it a final touch. So depending on the dish, you can use the salt that best goes with whatever you're preparing. Once you have everything all combined, you're just going to pour it out onto a baking sheet. I just have one that's lined with parchment paper. Just make sure that everything is really well combined and that lemon peel is all chopped up. Okay, and then just spread this into a thin layer, and then this will go into the oven to dry out. You're not baking this, that's why you're using the very lowest setting on your oven. You're not baking it, you're just drying it out so that any of the moisture that was in the lemon doesn't affect the end product. Or if you were using like a fresh sprig of rosemary, you would want to make sure that that is dry too. Mine just happened to be dry. So I'm just going to pat this out into a thin of a layer as I can get it, and throw that into the oven, and then move on to the next finishing salt. First finishing salt is all set and ready to go in the oven. I'm just going to throw them in at the same time, so I'll just wait until this next one is ready. So this next one is a chive blossom salt, and again, you're going to use 1 cup of sea salt. And then I already did the work ahead of time, actually a couple of days ago, just to take like 4 or 5 chive blossoms, and I removed the flowers from the actual like head of the blossom, and I kind of just let them dry for a couple days, and I just threw them in a jar so they weren't really wet. And then I have 4 chive stems that I'm just going to cut them up into smaller pieces. You probably don't have to worry about how small they are exactly because they're going into the food processor. Throw in your chive blossoms, and then again, same process. Just throw it in your food processor, lay it on a thin sheet, get it in the oven. I suppose I would use this interchangeably with a seasoning salt. I'm not using a coarse salt because my grocery store didn't have any. Usually a finishing salt uses a coarse sea salt, and since this is not a coarse salt, it could be used as a seasoning salt. The difference being that the coarser salt doesn't typically even coat and penetrate your food. So I guess really it's up to you how you use it depending on how coarse your salt is. There are no rules that are set in stone, so just do what works best for you. There's not some salt police that's going to come and tell you you're using a finishing salt as a seasoning salt, or vice versa. While those 2 finishing salts are in the oven, I'm just going to quickly finish up the last one. So this one again calls for a cup of sea salt. I just picked these up from my grocery store. And then, you know, if you wanted to double or triple the recipes of this, you could do that as well. I don't know, I don't know how much this is actually going to make once I get it all into the jars that I'm putting them into. So I may end up actually making more of these depending on how much I want to give away, how much I'm going to actually keep for myself. But I found these jars, 5 of these jars at the thrift store for $3.99, which is such a great deal. Anytime I find jars like this, I am picking them up because they're great for gifts like this. I also have that like violet bath soak that I made that I also plan on giving away as gifts, so that would be really good to put in jars like that as well. So this rosemary all came from my work last year. I work on a farm. We had a ton of rosemary plants that just we weren't able to sell just because they didn't look the greatest, and so we got to bring them home, and I brought home a ton of them, and I got them all processed up and dried, and I haven't really done anything with most of it since. I had like a smaller jar that I keep in my spice cabinet, but I have all this rosemary. I'm like, I should be doing something with this. What a great idea to make a rosemary finishing salt with it. So this, again, just going to go into the food processor. It doesn't have to go on a baking sheet into the oven because this is already dried. If you're using fresh, you definitely would want to do that. I am just going to lay it out on a baking sheet though, for a while, just to make sure that there's not any moisture in it and that it doesn't ruin the finishing salt that I'm making. Okay, it's been 20 minutes and the salts just came out of the oven, and they're a little bit crunchy and a little bit like in kind of bigger pieces like this. Let this completely cool. I put the rosemary one out on a sheet, but it's so very dry. There's definitely a difference between this one that had the dried herbs in it and then this stuff that had the herbs that were not dry. So let these sit out and dry completely. Then you can crunch them all up, get any of the bigger pieces down into smaller pieces, and then you can add them to your jars. Another jar that I love that I have on hand a lot are these little ball canning jars. I'll add a link to these if you guys want to pick some of these up. It smells so good in here between the lemon and the rosemary and the chives. It smells amazing. And in about half an hour's time, I have 3 unique homemade gift ideas that I can give to people and that I can also use for myself in my own kitchen. So I really hope you try this for yourself. It's really easy, simple, and affordable to do, and your kitchen will smell really yummy. So thank you for watching today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys soon. Just sitting out there in the absolute pouring rain. I think he knows I'm talking about him.